Hello and welcome to the Sun Times Online, Desi Martini. My name is Sandeep, and today I have with me the wonderful, wonderful cast and crew. I mean, if not literally everyone, but the main and the most pertinent people of the crew of the film Bombairiya. We have the director, Pia Sukanya. We have the writer of the film, Mr. Michael Ward, and a very, very pertinent character in the film, Mr. Akshay Oberoi. So, I'd like to start from you. What exactly was that one driving factor behind you conceiving this particular film? The way you did.
So yes, of course, it's the catalyst of the story, which is a phone getting stolen on the streets of Mumbai, is based on a true story. There were these three real people: a girl, a thief, and a boy, a good Samaritan, who tries to help her on the streets. That is where the tale begins. But what we did with it, when I heard this story for the first time, the real life incident, I found it extremely funny. I was at the edge of my seat. I was like, what happens next? When Aarti, our friend, Aarti Bagri, to whom this happened, when she finished narrating her little incident that happened in her life, I turned to Michael and I said, this is really special. I know you're making this, like, writing this really big international TV series, The Far Pavilions, but stop, and we gotta write this. So I was just really excited about what the story was trying to, well, it wasn't trying to say anything yet because it was just a real tale, right? But I was just really excited by what it encapsulated, how I felt about our city, and this was a classic tale that said it for me, and my love for what the city was. What happened after that was 80 to 90% of it became fictional. Michael is, yes, of course, the wonderful writer of Bombairiya, but he's also the producer of the film. Yeah. And I'm also married.
Goes without saying.
Goes without saying. I'm also married to this man. So, it's very much like a mom and pop shop that we run. And we started...
Oh, that's a lovely way to put it. A mom and dad shop.
Yeah, and we started making this independent feature film. And it was an experiment, it's a 24-hour story. It's a comedy mystery. The tagline is one witness, one hitman, one bunch of idiots. It evolved from that one incident, which is a very relatable incident, which is why I loved it so much, right? The three strangers meeting on the street, what happens next? And it's the what happens next that he wrote so magically and beautifully, that all these 54 actors came on board and went on this crazy journey with us. And we've ended up where we are here today. And it's not only a really fun film, a roller coaster ride, but I believe it's a really important film as well, because it's talking about, in a very entertaining way, a very important issue that we're trying to highlight through the medium of cinema, which is witness protection.
Michael, I'd like to ask you, you have a different background altogether. You're from a different part of the world. How has Bombay treated you? I mean, if I'm not wrong, I had a conversation with Pia, and she informed me that you were born in Assam. So how has that entire cross-cultural thing has been for you?
Well, when I was very small, we used to come through Bombay. You won't believe this, to get on a ship to go from Bombay to Southampton. So I have memories of going by ship before air travel. That's how young I am. Now, we've got that out of the way. One of the things that we went on adventures, we would leave the hotel, actually Sun and Sands Hotel, as kids. My brother was very naughty. He would pee from the balcony down on the Sun and Sands. These are his memories. And mine are trying to kind of get him back into the hotel and stop him running away into the lanes of Juhu and getting lost. So, I mean, we are adventurers. I think we've got that in our genes. We like to follow stories. This particular one kind of grabbed us because the specificity of the characters, like the two cops who are related to Abhishek / Don't Call Me Pintu. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
the two cops, one has a blue neck brace, and these details I remember from the very first narration of the real incident. So we kept those things, like the blue neck brace, which this cop never takes off, and that's like a symbol of paralysis, right? They're beat chalky cops, and they don't know how to fix the system. They get terror alerts on their phone, 3 or 4 a day. And, you know, it is funny to be that sort of paralyzed and seemingly unable to save the world. But, you know, if you have an idealist who believes he can save the world, as the character of Abhishek believes, and he's related to one of these two cops, who kind of give you the feeling that they're never going to be able to save the world in a million years. But guess what? This tale is full of surprises, and there are ways of saving the world that are very comedic and very interesting, which keeps people who have ideals slightly in touch with those ideals. Okay. And it's a cynical world for the most part, but we have some magical characters because you find them in Bombay. You find people who believe in things that rationally you'd say, why are you having these dreams? But everyone does. So our characters have very small and achievable dreams, like one day I'm going to have a strong neck and take this brace off, and then I'm going to catch a criminal. You know, small achievable things. Rather than outlandish, I'm going to be a millionaire, or I'm going to be a star, or, you know, they actually have very specific things they want to achieve with their day, and we're following them through their day.
Exactly. I would like to interject over there because I had a conversation with Akshay a few days ago, and
it was a very nice conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Stayed here on your video chat. Lovely to speak to you.
Okay. So the thing is, I had a conversation with him, and I kind of told him that, you know, the premise of the film is not very outlandish. It is something that we actually get experience on a day-to-day basis. So what exactly was different for you as far as the film is concerned and your character is concerned? Was there any difference in that matter?
Well, I haven't really been approached to do much comedic work. And I've always thought I'm just a really funny, interesting guy, but nobody ever came to me with it, right? So Michael and Pia were kind enough to offer me a comedic kind of space to work in, and they're both very funny people. I mean, every time I meet them, I naturally start making jokes because they're like that. We smile and we laugh and we rib at each other and rib at people around us, and that's just kind of, I mean, our friendship is that way and the script is that way. And I think that's why I keep reiterating today that when I met them as a couple and I'd read their writing, there were a lot of similarities between the language that was used, in terms of who they really are and the voice of this script. And I thought, okay, here's a good chance to, because comedy can fall flat unless people know what they're doing. And they knew what they were doing. And I thought that, okay, if I want to try this space, what better than to join hands with these wonderful people and do it.
Michael, I'll come back to you once again. From what he just said and what you said as well, you have a different background altogether. She has a different background. So today, when you see the Indian cinema, the Bollywood repertoire for that matter, where do you see it standing? Where, as compared to the world cinema for that matter? So you have, I mean, from the kind of background, she's an anthropologist. He is pretty well versed with the films. I mean, the world films, the scenario. You have Kiarostami, you have Mizoguchi, you have, I mean, Kurosawa and so many other filmmakers. So their films, for that matter, and the Indian films, where does it stand? Does it have a standing at all in the world space?
Well, I think it does. I think this film is aspirational in the sense that there is a generation of young Indian cinema goers, so people who are actually interested in cinema, who would find this interesting in the way it's been put together, and particularly the attention to detail that Pia has brought to it, and the time we've taken over the script. You know,
you mean to say that you haven't really thought of the intricate details in the script, being the writer?
No, well, I'm encouraged to think of the details 27 times before they get we go on the floors and shoot it. But you know, I'm very interested because it's Pia's audience. So as a craftsman, I'm serving her vision. So it's her vision of her India, her audience. And it's exciting. You know, she gave up her green card. She made Bombay her home. I sense there's a great sort of generational change. And the fact that there is a yes, we can, a belief that we can make cinema that can actually pitch itself at a global audience, as well as a sort of young professional, college-going young professional audience in India, of which there may be 30, 40 million. Many of those would think in English. That's actually a huge market on its own. If you've got a film of a certain size and you're not trying to please everyone, and you're giving people some food for thought and food for hope, that's what our job is, to connect with those kind of cineasts, the kind of cinephiles who love film and the way it's put together and what you're trying to achieve with it in the way you want people to feel. So how you want people to feel has to be rooted in their reality, something that's relatable to them. So hence, when we met Aarti, who described a real Abhishek, who is related to a real Jiju, who had a fighter of crime, Dheere. We named him Dheere because he was not the fastest greyhound on the block. But to me, it's funny, like Martin McDonagh's films, like Seven Psychopaths and In Bruges, how the seemingly loserish people in the losing column of life can sometimes, maybe 1% of the time actually, give the bad guys or the really bad guys a run for their money.
I see.
I think the potholes and the speed bumps in this city, which frustrate us most of the time, can sometimes be amusing.
Absolutely. So, given the fact the genre of the movie is a comedy, a dry comedy, how do you say it? What's the genre of the comedy?
We're calling it a comedy mystery.
It's a comedy mystery, so it's a first of sorts, for that matter.
It's a mixture of genres, and it's quite a balancing act to achieve that. We did take a long time in edit because it is quite a new fusion of tones.
But from what you just said, I kind of have a feel that's supposed to be a little bit on the dry side.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
We call it a straight-faced comedy. You see so many posters where people are grinning and shining to the best. I mean, look at the expression on Radhika's face.
The only person smiling on the poster is the antagonist.
Okay. Oh, he's the antagonist. Okay, I didn't know that.
Sorry.
Spoiler.
Yes.
Spoiler. How well are you versed? I mean, how well are you aware of Bombay to have kind of brought in those minuscule aspects that would actually bring out the day-to-day, affairs or whatever?
Every morning I scour the papers for the weird stuff. Cover to cover.
He makes me cut it out.
Cover to cover. And
Cut it out.
Yeah.
over chai, I go, well, listen to this. You would never believe this kind of crime could even exist. You know.
He finds the weirdest stuff in the paper. I know, like, we all have access to this, but he, like, looks for it.
Okay.
And catalogs it.
Tends to find me, you know.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're not an Indian born.
No.
He has had, he's had his life mostly outside, across the borders. And so the fact that, he is kind of well versed with the white skin for that matter, it's pretty okay. It's very easy to communicate for that matter. So how was that ease? Was it really, did it really help in communicating the role to him, making him understand things?
More Indian than I am.
Well, I think we have a similar sort of worldview. And, making a film in a collaborative way, it's like playing in a sandbox. We're all there to find the truth of the moment and the fun, of course, and find also the reality of emotion, of real hurt, real feelings, and in real people. So, I think it's fascinating the amount of work that Akshay and Pia did on the character of Abhishek, because it's very hard to actually believe someone is this idealistic and sincerely so, and is going to hit those brick walls with his face, because he doesn't know how to be conniving. He's a straight-on kind of guy, which it makes the character adorable, and to have achieved that and feels totally satisfied by the realization of that character on screen, is a wonderful feeling, because we will now live with them forever and ever. I mean, the film belongs on Friday to everyone else, but it'll stay with us.
Absolutely. Akshay, you tell me, given the fact that you have this varied background as far as your education is concerned in the realm of cinema, what are the kind of films that you actually want to do?
You know, yeah, I think I'm doing them. I get often asked this question of like, even you spoke about it, is like, have you gotten your due in cinema yet? Yeah. Every journalist seems to ask me that question, and my answer to them is, in the sense that I get to do the stuff that I like to do in a town like this where not so many films of that nature are being made. I mean, if you look at any of my films, whether you like them or not, they're interesting films, right? Whether it's Pizza, Lal Rang, Kala Kandi, Gurgaon, any of these films, Bombairiya, they're off the natural path. And that's what I was searching for. Those are the kind of films I wanted to be a part of. And finally, what I've been chasing after all these years, that's getting the forefront of mainstream cinema. I mean, last year you saw films like Andhadhun and Badhai Ho and Newton and things like that actually do well in the mega blockbusters and commercial mainstream cinema not. So finally, I feel like it's just my turn is around the block. You know what I mean? I've been investing enough in this space. This is the kind of work I like to engage in. I've gotten the opportunity to do it again thanks to these kind folk. And this is the space I'm in. So whenever I get asked that question, my response is, look, man, I pay my bills by doing the cinema I love. Can't be any more due than that.
Do you feel that the performances that you extracted from the actors are the performances you actually desired for the film?
I am so proud of the performances in the film. I cannot stop talking about how good they all are. They are uniformly delightful. We've created some really real, warm, lovable human beings. It's more than what I desired. Cinema is such a beautiful craft that you get to play with it even after they have left, and you get to edit it and you get to string it together, and a lot is created in the edit as well. Absolutely. And so I'm so
cinema comes together in the edit.
It does, and the performances, the takes that I choose. I always protected my actors. I would always choose something that was that I believed. I would never let a take be in the film that is not a believable take. And so the performances, they've done such a wonderful job because the process that we used, the organic method in which we worked, where it was based on trust, it was based on collaboration, it was based on making a real human being come to life, not a performance, that we achieved. And then, the rest is done in edit, and I'm really proud of that. Yeah, so absolutely.
Mr. Ward, just to, kind of give me two statements or sentences in Hindi.
मैं क्या बोलूँ?
कुछ भी.
कुछ भी.
Yeah. I mean, perhaps a dialogue from the film for that matter.
Well, which one?
Yeah.
दो नियम.
Yeah. Okay, so दो नियम याद रखना इस शहर के बारे में. एक तो
प्रॉपर्टी की कीमत.
हाँ, प्रॉपर्टी की कीमत दुनिया में सब पर स्क्वायर फुट. अरे ओके, दो नियम याद रखना इस शहर के बारे में. प्रॉपर्टी की कीमत पर स्क्वायर फुट दुनिया में सबसे ज़्यादा है. नंबर ऑफ इडियट्स per square foot वो भी दुनिया में सबसे ज़्यादा है.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that we come to the end of this wonderful conversation with Mr. Michael Ward, the producer and the writer of Bombairiya, the director of the film Piya Sukanya, and the wonderful Akshay Oberoi. Thank you so much.